makakasama natin ang bagong talagang ICC Assistant to Counsel. Wala pong iba ako na si Attorney Ross Tugade. Magandang gabi po, Attorney, and welcome to
Hi,
STL.
Attorney. Congrats, Attorney.
Magandang gabi po, Chiki, Maricel, and Joey Francisco. Maraming salamat po sa pag-iimbita na makapanayam kahit kaunti dito sa inyong programa. It has been quite an overwhelming past 2 days.
I'm sure
this is the first televised live broadcast interview I'm granting after I received news of the accreditation.
Correct. Attorney Tugade, first of all, congratulations po sa inyo, no, na kayo po ay naitalaga na po doon sa pagiging assistant to counsel doon sa may ICC. Yun na, actually, Felix muna. Alam ko na overwhelmed kayo, pero feeling ko yung pagiging overwhelmed ninyo ay dahil sa makukulit kami mga taga-media na gusto kayo ma-interview. Pero kamusta yung work-related na talaga, no? After ma-anunsyo yun, sabak ba agad sa trabaho o pinaghahandaan niyo pa lang ito?
Okay po. Siguro para na rin sa kaalaman ng publiko, accreditation by the ICC granted to lawyers, whether it's as counsel or assistant to counsel, which in my and Attorney Conti's case is our admission to practice in the ICC. Nakasulat po doon sa mismong liham na ipinadala sa akin nung ako'y in-inform na I was admitted to the list of assistants to counsel. Malinaw po doon na ang pagiging admitted to the list does not mean de facto that I have been appointed to a situation or to a particular case. So siguro yun po yung paglilinaw, no, para hindi po magulo sa publiko kung ano po ang ibig sabihin. So ang ibig sabihin po nung accreditation to practice, pwede po kaming maitalaga sa situation or cases. But this does not mean that at the moment I am already involved in the situation of the Republic of the Philippines, which is the formal designation of the case right now, kasi wala pa po tayo sa trial phase na tinatawag. So prior to my receipt of the news, I have been helping in different capacities in various accountability efforts. I've served as consultant in some studies relating to accountability measures, but more recently, nabanggit na rin po si Attorney Conti, we have been in touch on doing some legal research on how we can best help the victim community when it comes to possible victim representation in the ICC.
Pero interesting times yung pagpasok mo, no, Attorney? Kasi syempre, ngayon tayo nagkaroon ng dating presidente na nakasalang dyan sa ICC. So, ano yung inaasahan mo?
Ako po ay nagtrabaho sa ibang context wherein I have helped in the investigation and case build-up of crimes against humanity in a few other countries. As far as the timeline goes, we can tell kung ano po yung magiging susunod na mga developments. But we do know that there are pending matters right now before the court, including the assessment of the fitness to stand trial. So, gaya po na nabanggit nyo bago po ako isa lang for this conversation, there are still assessments to be made by experts, and these experts are also rostered by the ICC actually. And they are selected on the basis of their qualification. So, kailangan pa pong tignan on the basis of the facts presented to them and the examination of Mr. Duterte himself if indeed there will be a decision on the fitness to stand trial. So, nandun pa po tayo sa phase ngayon. Kung matatandaan po natin, last September dapat gaganapin yung confirmation of charges hearing. Yun po ay na-postpone because of these pending matters. So, wala pa po tayo dun sa phase kung saan alam na natin for sure and certainly if this will proceed to trial. But of course, speaking now as a victim community advocate that has been in contact and has worked with and for the victim community in the past few years, best efforts po ito to make sure that accountability is something that we truly attain in the ICC, or not just in the ICC actually. And I think this is an opportunity also to dispel some perhaps notions about the ICC na kapag dumiretso tayo sa ICC ay ibig sabihin disregarded na po ang domestic institutions.
Actually,
this is an entire discussion in itself. Pero yun po, sa ngayon, this is where we stand in conversation also with the other lawyers. We're trying all our best efforts to make sure that accountability is attained at the level of the ICC at the very least.
Actually, attorney, that direction you're going in talaga yung tanong ko sa'yo. Kasi merong mga naniniwala na yung involvement or yung intervention ng ICC sa atin dito sa Pilipinas ay parang binabaliwala yung ating mga institusyon dito sa Pilipinas, no? So, baka you can simplify it para sa ating audience po, attorney. Ano pong masasabi po ninyo sa ating audience na naniniwalang parang ina-undermine yung ating justice system dito sa Pilipinas?
Ang mandato po ng ICC, o titignan natin yung buong kasaysayan ng field of international criminal law, which is that particular regime of international law that governs the ICC. Ganitong po mga klaseng tribunal, ang tinatry po, yung tinatawag nating international crimes or the most grave crimes of international concern, yung mga tipong heads of state or leaders of military groups or paramilitary groups, sila po usually yung nakita natin na isasalang, not just in the ICC but in previous international criminal tribunals that we've seen throughout history, like the International Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia or Rwanda, or even way back yung Nuremberg trials after World War II or yung Tokyo trials after World War II. So, ang concern po ng mga malalakihang International Criminal Tribunal, gaya po ng ICC, to get the big fish. So that's kind of a loose term that we use in international criminal investigations. Dahil ako po ay nagsilbi na rin bilang legal analyst in other contexts gaya na banggit ko kanina. Ito po talaga yung mandato, pero hindi po ibig sabihin na kapag gumugulong na sa ICC ang pag-iimbestiga sa isang sitwasyon ay baliwala na po ang domestic criminal accountability. Maaari na sa domestic realm or sa domestic sphere in our local courts, maaaring may mga gumulong na mga kaso, perhaps sa mga tinatawag nating low-level perpetrators. But the big fish, yung mga most responsible for these crimes, kagaya ng crimes against humanity na talagang malakihang pattern, malakihang geographic scope or temporal range, ito po yung mga sitwasyon kung saan pumapasok na po ang ICC or other mechanisms that are international in character.
Okay, so where does Senator Bato de la Rosa fall under po? May option po ba siya na matry sa local court?
Si Senator de la Rosa po, kung titignan po natin, during the Duterte administration, when he was involved in the implementation of Operation Double Barrel, he was the chief of the PNP. At least that was his first major role in this, what we call a system. Okay? Malabo po na ito ay babaliwalain ng ICC yung kanyang naging papel. Dahil nabanggit ko nga po, Big Fish, he was the chief of the PNP. Nandoon po siya sa itaas ng command structure. And when we investigate international crimes, tinitignan po natin yung what we call linkage evidence or yung chain of command, or if there is command responsibility, if that's a relevant thing that we have to look into. We are very much interested as international criminal investigators doon po sa naging papel ng mga nagbaston, kumbaga, ng sistema na kung saan nagresulta ng malakihang karahasan or kriminalidad.
Pero attorney, pahabol lang ha. Kasi dahil nga ngayon may usap-usapan na baka lumabas na yung arrest warrant ni Senator Bato. Although wala pang confirmation, naglalabas din ng pahayag yung mga kaalyado niya, particularly si Senator Robin Hood na ay wag kang susuko, hindi natin kinikilala yung foreign authority. So paano natin to ipapaliwanag sa mga tao kung ano ba dapat ang maging turing dito just in case na lumabas na yung arrest warrant? Tama ba yun? Hindi natin kasi nire-recognize ang foreign authority?
Una po, ang ICC po ay hindi po siya isang foreign country. It is not a foreign state.
Yeah, hindi siya estado. Yeah.
Ang ICC po ay itinatag ng isang treaty, okay? Isang international agreement na iba't ibang mga bansa. At ang Pilipinas po ay kasapi until the withdrawal during the Duterte administration. At dahil tayo ay pumayag na maging kasapi ng ICC, katuwang po doon yung pagpayag din sa mga kondisyon kung saan po pwedeng mag-imbestiga ang ICC ng iba't ibang mga posibleng krimen na nakapaloob sa jurisdiction nito. So, baka maging sunod na tanong ay, hindi ba yun nga nag-withdraw na tayo? Doesn't that entail that we no longer have any obligation to follow any of the ICC's issuances, for instance? This matter has been discussed by practitioners, even legal academics, legal scholars alike. And we do have legal basis to say na merong residual obligations bilang tayo po ay pumayag. At that time, pumayag po tayo, and at that time na nagsimula yung request of the Office of the Prosecutor to start the investigation of the ICC, tayo pa po ay nakapailalim pa po dun sa international agreement that sets out these obligations. So, in very simple terms, kumbaga, kung tayo ay pumasok sa isang usapan, at yung usapan na yun ay yung Rome Statute, meron po tayong obligasyon, yung tinatawag natin, yung tinuturo ko po sa law school, nung tuturo ko sa UP College of Law, yung pacta sunt servanda, or yung sinasabi natin na obligations must be complied with in good faith. So, tayo po ay pumasok sa agreement, kailangan nating sundin yung ating ipinangakong tutuparin natin kapag ito ay naging applicable to us. And we cannot escape from that obligation by just simply acting in bad faith at sabihin nag-withdraw na tayo. Because the ICC or the Rome Statute provides for certain residual obligations even in the event of withdrawal.
Okay. Attorney Tugade, meron pa ako isang pahabol na question sana. Babalik ko lang doon sa dating Pangulo. Medyo naging controversial, at least pinag-usapan online, yung sinabi ni former Senator Trillanes dito sa STL about 2 nights ago. Na sinabi niya na parang nililinaw niya na hindi pa natin alam yung resulta nung health condition na test na ginawa dito sa dating Pangulo. Pero wag na daw mag-isip na kahit na daw maging resulta noon, sa pananaw niya ay hindi naman daw mapapauwi ang dating Pangulo kung ano man yung laman ng resulta na yon. Dahil manatili daw ng dating Pangulo at magte-test ulit hanggat fit na for trial. Tama ba yung interpretasyon ni former Senator Trillanes doon sa mga patakaran na yon?
I will answer this question by anchoring on the basis of how the ICC decided on similar or analogous cases in the past. Or kung ano yung nilalaman nung Rome Statute or nung Rules of Procedure ng ICC. Okay? Fitness to stand trial doesn't entail the highest level of fitness. And in fact, Mr. Duterte himself has waived his appearance, and he has executed certain documents. We've seen that, and this, in my view, would be an indication that he is in fact fit to make certain decisions. Right? So that's one. And the other one is, this has been resolved already by the appeals chamber, the matter of interim release. Now, if you look at the pattern of the court's decision making, people who are most responsible and given the circumstances surrounding Mr. Duterte's lingering political influence in the Philippines, his release might only subvert the very purpose of the ICC, which is kailangan magkaroon ng pagtigil sa impunity or magkaroon ng accountability para sa crimes of the gravest nature or crimes of the most serious international concern. So, kailangan din po natin tignan, beyond of course the terms of the treaty and the decision-making pattern of the court, what's the purpose of the ICC? To make sure na wala nang impunity for crimes of this scale and of this nature. So, may calibrated assessment, kumbaga. May calibrated assessment would be, it wouldn't be in the interest of what the ICC stands for if they would allow accountability, the opportunity for accountability to slip past them.
Yan. Okay. So, kanina sinimulan natin to, Mase and Chiki, sa pag-congratulate kay Attorney Ross. I-end natin to by asking kung Katulad po ng kinakaharap lagi nila Attorney Conti sa ni Attorney Andres, handa ka na bang matroll dito sa posisyon na ito?
Siguro po yung unang lumabas na kumbaga false information. I think people have the chatter online. People have been asking or are insisting that I am a child of a former cabinet secretary who shares the same surname, and has served under the previous administration. Let me clarify na po for everyone's information. I am in no way related to the secretary who shares the same last name, who has served under the previous administration, and I think that's the number one that's the number one thing that has been circulating. As to the question kung handa na po ba akong matroll, I think it comes with the work of being a human rights advocate, being a human rights worker. I've been in the human rights space almost exclusively throughout my law career, and I think occupational hazard na po yung tayo ay matatawag na protector ng mga kriminal and other such statements. And I admire the work of a lot of human rights workers who has faced more hostility that I anticipate I would face. So whatever this would entail, we would be ready to at least do our job and contribute to the effort of exacting accountability in any shape or form, whether it's in the ICC or in more domestic forums or in other forums that would allow to have some form of justice that may not be necessarily criminal conviction. Kasama po ito doon sa aking mga nire-research bilang academic na rin, yung mga transitional justice. Yun rin pong naging trabaho ko in the Human Rights Victims Claims Board. There are forms of justice that are outside the criminal justice system na maaari din natin tignan, yung kinds of community healing and community reparations that are also components of the whole justice ecosystem.
Okay.
Sige, attorney, maraming salamat po for joining us this evening. Sabi namin kanina, congratulations. Dadagdagan po namin ng good luck.
Good luck.
At happy weekend.
Happy
Thank you, Attorney Ross.
Salamat din po.